Hello again, Uncle Roddus, back with another video showing more records. As I keep saying, I'm not supposed to be buying lots of records, but I have been. Anyway, no, the situation was that last weekend I went on a 4-day weekend down to the wonderful city of Dunedin, south of here, 6-hour drive, 5-hour drive south of here, to see 4 days, or 3 days I should say, and 4 concerts of experimental, droney, noisy soundscapes, and some music, surprisingly. Yeah, awesome weekend had down there. Met up with someone off one of the Facebook groups that I'm a member of, and also that person does a podcast that I listen to a lot, Chris. Yeah, so it was really cool. It was him who put me on to the festival. It's called the Lines of Flight Festival, and it's been going for 17 years. Every couple of years they have it. Chris had been the last time, I think it was his first time, and this was my first time. I had an awesome weekend, absolutely loved it. There wasn't a lot that happened that I didn't like, to be honest, which was surprising considering the type of sounds and music that was being played. Anyway, on the trip down, first thing was I left on Thursday morning and fairly early so that I could stop in and do some record shopping on the way. I knew there was a shop in the town of Timaru, which is an hour and 2 hours drive from here roughly, and the last time I'd passed through town that shop was shut, so I wanted to, it was a Saturday morning and they were shut, so I wanted to have a look and see what he had in there. And also there was some places, I think there was a place north of Dunedin that I'd seen mentioned on Facebook that sold records, and and checked out a few second-hand junk shops and that. So the shop in Timaru, and At Last Records it was called. So it's only a small shop. He had a wall of bins of vinyl, and he had some on the wall as they do, and he had some CDs and stuff. Yeah, it wasn't the best pickings for me personally. He had a lot of, it was all second hand, it was all fairly common, or most of it was fairly common stuff. Early 70s, 60s, 70s, early. It sort of was almost like it was up till the end of vinyl before CDs came in, so early 90s, well for me anyway it certainly was. By the early 90s I'd stopped collecting vinyl when it was just CD only. Anyway, so yeah, I went through his bins. He didn't have them in any sort of order. He had all the rock and pop and whatever popular type music all in one row of bins, and they weren't in any sort of order. And then he had a section of country music, a small section of classical, which was quite overpriced for what they were. I mean, I think he had something $8 on some of them, which that sort of stuff goes for 50 cents around here, $1 to 50 cents. And then he had a very small jazz box, of which there wasn't really much of interest to me. But I was really surprised to find 2 records in there which kind of almost stood out from everything else he had. The one that's playing at the moment is this one, Mandingo 3. Now this I had heard on a podcast, the Mutant Sounds podcast, which I listen to, and they play an incredible array of bizarre and obscure and out there music, and this was a track off this album that they played and stuck in my mind, or the name stuck in my mind. And so when I saw it, I wasn't 100% sure if it was the right one, because there are several bands called Mandingo apparently according to Discogs, but it turned out this is the album. And this is a huge band. I mean, there's a huge huge instrument lineup on the back of this, all written down on the back here. The band leader, I can't remember his name, Brian Love or something like that. Apparently he'd been around a long time, and this was in 1974, this record. And his music apparently is normally just easy listening sort of, big band music. So, but under the Mandingo banner, he put out 4 albums. This was the 3rd one, of course. and I just love it. It's absolutely awesome. I don't know if you can hear it. It's just playing on the wee amp over there. Yeah, really cool. And the other record that they had at Last Records was this Yellow Magic Orchestra, BGM. This is from 1981. I'm sure most people know, have heard of Yellow Magic Orchestra. They, I think I read somewhere that they are the Japanese version of Kraftwerk. I had a quick listen to this. Some of it's okay, some of it's a lot better. Need to listen to it a bit more because there's quite a lot happening. But yeah, this is a band that are highly regarded by Mutant Sounds. So yeah, I picked that up, and they weren't too bad priced, so that's cool. In Dunedin, there was a record shop called Zodiac Records on there's a smaller shopping centre away from the main centre, towards the beach and south when you're sort of heading towards Invercargill. And I popped down there on Friday morning, and it's a bookshop, record shop. So huge amount of books. One of those sort of semi-run-down shops, really packed to the brim with records and books. Almost overflowing, as well as CDs. Did he have any DVDs? I don't recall. And the counter's a little messy corner of the place. No FPOS. Real sort of bit dingy, but actually had a pretty good selection of all second-hand stuff, but had a pretty good selection of interesting stuff. Had a New Zealand box set. I didn't find anything much in there, although Chris managed to find some pretty interesting stuff that he was into, but I didn't know what it was. But anyway, also was thumbing through his I really only got through his recent arrival bins. I didn't really get a chance to look at the rest of the place, but apart from just wandering along the bins, but I got a feeling there was a lot of pretty old 70s stuff in that. But I picked up one like this, Country Fit for Heroes Volume 2. I was familiar with Volume 1, and I may have even had a copy of it back in the day. Don't know any of the bands on this. This is a No Future release, 1980 something. I don't know, it doesn't tell me on here. I'm pretty sure it's the early 80s. I don't know any of the bands. Pretty, hardcore punk, English punk. I've had to listen to it once. That's not bad. I'm missing a record actually. I picked this one up there, Mad River. This is a reissue. So this thing's nearly brand new. I don't know if someone had listened to it once and didn't like it, but this is really cool. I was familiar with their Amphetamine Gazelle track. I've actually only listened to the first side so far, but it was pretty damn good. Stretch out a bit actually. There's a track, War Goes On, it's 12 minutes long, and Wind Chimes on side 2 is 7 minutes long. Pretty cool. I'm really pleased to have that. I'll just grab the other record I found in his shop. This is one I used to have back in the old days. Quite familiar. New Order. This is a EP that they put out after their first album and before Power, Corruption and Lies, I think. I really always enjoyed this, and it still sounds pretty good. The cover's a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's had a bit of moisture in it, but the record itself is bloody great, so I'm happy to find that. And the first day I was there, I spotted a couple of records, and I looked at them, and I had never ever seen them in the wild before, and I knew who they were, but I'd never ever heard any of their music, and they were reasonably pricey, because the guy there, he does know his stuff reasonably well, so he knows what's what, and he does the research. Anyway, I went that night after the concert, and I got back to my accommodation, and I started thinking about this band, and I thought, I really don't want to leave those there, because they are pretty hard to find in this country, and certainly down this neck of the woods. And I went on Discogs, had a little look just to check on the prices, and I think his prices were fairly good. And I had a listen on my Tidal app on my phone, and the music that was on this album was pretty much perfect for the weekend I was having musically. So here it is, Nurse with Wound, Hamot, can't even pronounce that right, Homotopi, I give up, to Marie, from 1982, and the other one, so I had two of them, Nurse with Wound, Automating Volume 1, from somewhere around 1986, I think. And these are in, I mean, the cover's a little bit bent in the corners on that one, but these are in really good, vinyl-wise, they're in really good nick. Sounded pretty good. So, yeah, I had a listen to them already, and yeah, they're pretty out there. I'm really pleased to have them, actually, and they really suited the music that I was going to see over that weekend, so that was really cool. I'm actually going to have to make about 3 videos for this trip to Dunedin, because I ended up buying something like 40 albums, and there's a reason for that, and I'll tell you about that in one of the other videos. But there was a wee shop called Twigs and Twine, which sells dried flowers and other things, and she has 3 boxes of records that she has there on behalf of a guy who's on one of the Facebook pages that I frequent, and I'll get back to those later. But next door to that shop was another wee kind of antique-y shop that had old books and old knickknacks and jars and books and CDs and stuff. So I went and had a look through his bins. I had a fairly quick look, and in the morning I spotted this one and picked this one up from him. This is the reissue, which I've seen around in the warehouse. Is there a date on it? No, there isn't. Yeah, so this is the reissue. I actually have never owned this album. I've got most of Neil Young's stuff on CD, I haven't got a lot on vinyl. And this was reasonably cheap, actually. And to be honest, I paid less for this brand new. Well, it looks brand new. Was it sealed? Yeah, it might have been, because he did have some new and some second-hand stuff. This I paid less for this than what they're selling for second-hand in the second-hand shops. Neil Young stuff goes generally for $30 to $40. So I'd had a look through. He had 2 bins on his desk, and he had another bin on the floor with some New Zealand stuff. There wasn't a lot of pickings in the New Zealand bin, but what I did miss, and I went back later on with Chris, because Chris wanted to have a look, and what I'd missed the first time was this ECM. And as you know, I always collect ECMs, and I'd never heard of this guy, Richard Beerage. He's a pianist, and this is ECM 1054, 1975. So this is a drums, bass and piano trio. I've had a listen to this. It's fairly esoteric, but quite nice. Nothing too out there, but always pleased to have ECMs. The plastic on the cover's flaking a bit, but the vinyl was pretty good. And then another one of his is this one here, which I haven't yet listened to, ECM 1104 Hubris from 1977. This is just him solo. Just checking, yeah, there's no one else on this. Just him solo piano. So that'll be interesting to see what that's like. So always pleased to get ECMs, and yeah, that was cool. So that's the first stash that I'm going to show from Dunedin trip. I've got some New Zealand ones that I'd like to show, which I've all grouped together from a couple of different shops, and then we came across a record fair and scored fairly well there. So just one thing, I did stop at a place called the Oddity, which is a tiny wee town about 45 minutes north of Dunedin, which I stopped on the way to Dunedin. I had seen that place listed on a Facebook page as one of the places in New Zealand that was selling vinyl. unfortunately, it's basically a second-hand type junk shop, and his prices were, for that type of shop, were way too high. He was selling a lot of stuff for $15 to $20, and the condition of them was not particularly good. The quality of the music for a junk shop was actually pretty good. I mean, it wasn't the usual fodder, and I've certainly been through a lot of fodder on my trip down at some of the shops I've been to. But yeah, unfortunately, I looked at about 2 or 3 records, and the condition of them pretty poor, and they were $15, $20, and also like the lock scene compilations he had for like $10 and $15, which they basically sell for $1 or $2 in most shops. So anyway, so that's me for this video. We will catch you again soon.